Okay, this month we're going after hardcore building up, not tearing down, speaking kindly. We are massively going after building your family through the siblings. And so another great way to experience this, or I'm sorry, to express this to your kids, you know that kids need visuals. They need to understand it. So when you say, we don't tear down, kids they don't have the brain capacity to always understand that. So if you can give them a tangible example of this is what it looks like to tear down, they're going to be much more um, have a greater capacity of being able to adopt, and then to adapt to the teaching. And so another one, if you have wooden blocks, or if you have Legos, or if you have something that you can build, you can do a bunch of books, and maybe each call a family meeting, and every time you put the book or the Lego or the wooden block or whatever, call something out that you like about somebody in the room, but play it like hot potato, like you're doing it really fast. And so I like this, and put another block down. I like this, and I like this about you, and just go around the room really fast. And before you know it, you're building up this tower, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And then in the middle of nowhere, come on, Dad, in the middle of nowhere, interrupt them and punch it. I don't mean punch it like violently. I mean just punch it with some force, and the whole thing is going to fall down. And they're going to be like, oh my word, you might want to do that again. Build it back up again, and then you randomly punch it and do it a couple of times. Good. You will definitely have their attention with that. And then you're bringing the teachable point home, and you're simply saying, wasn't this fun? And there was so much joy and peace, and everybody's feeling good in their bellies when we're building up. But when I tore it down with one action, I tore that all down. And then we had to build it back up again. And so you're giving them the visual that it is so important in every decision they make. They're building up or tearing down. It's life or it's death. It's blessing or it's curse. Some of these things are black and white. There's very little gray when it comes to some of this stuff. And so you're helping them to see another word picture for that. Then in the days to come, when you hear tones or actions or behaviors, you're helping them to see, was that a building up or was that a tearing down? Do you think your brother feels built up right now, or do you think he feels kind of punched? And you're helping them to see that and connect the dots with that. You also can adapt the language that we are builders in this house. Come on, Dad, that's what you're doing. You are creating builders in your house. The siblings, your multiple children, are builders for what you're building in your family with a family legacy. You are not demolition destroyers. And you can use that language when you hear a tone or they say something that's just so mean. And it's not even that you have a problem with what they said, it's how they said it. And you can come alongside them and just say, are you a demolition destroyer right now? Or are you a builder? So how could you communicate, please do not come in my room, please do not do that, please give me back my toy, in a way that is actually building and is actually empowering and not a demolition destroyer? All right, again, I feel redundant, but this month we are massively going after this. This step is important. I'm going to leave you with a quick testimony. When I was raised with my three other siblings, very close in age, we had a high tolerance for communicating rejection and not being very kind to each other. It was just our norm. And so I just thought all families were like that. I didn't think any siblings got along. I thought it was kind of like your birthright to hate your sibling. I don't know. That was kind of my experience. I didn't think any siblings liked each other, right? It was like, girl germs or boy germs or whatever. I just thought that was normal. And I remember I was in my really young, early 20s, and I was I was a believer then, and I just threw myself at the church, and I was helping one of our head pastors with a particular project, a mission trip, and a project with it. And so I was at his house, and I was with his couple of other teammates and his wife, and Pastor Brent was there, and his kids were about middle school age. And in the middle of the meeting, his one son comes bursting through the door, and he's just sobbing. And the story was something like, I don't know, this was many years ago. I don't know if I remember all the details, but the story was something like all the neighborhood kids were playing, and they were picking teams, and he was one of the last ones, and the last two, and everybody was kind of laughing. And his brother made a comment like, well, I definitely don't want him, meaning the brother, and picked the other guy. And then everybody laughed, and this brother felt so humiliated. Not that he was the last one picked, but that his own brother wouldn't even want him. And then how it created the public laughter, the shame that went with that. And so I remember when he came bursting through the door and interrupting us, I remember thinking to myself, well, buck up, Buttercup. Like, come on. Like, so what? Like, I just remember thinking, like, what's your problem? And I sat there. I think God did this meeting at the house with these neighbors and the kids playing simply just to teach me something. Because the pastor, he said, well, bring your brother in. Bring your brother in. And he corrected the older brother in front of all of us. We all got to see it, right, wrong, and different. That's what happened. And he was speaking to this brother, and he was saying, your responsibility as an older brother is to make sure that your younger siblings feel like they're in a family. And he said it would have been better for you to have the weaker player and to be loyal to your brother than try to pick the best team and reject your own brother. And I remember my jaw was like, what? I could not believe. I didn't know there was a world out there for parents that you could actually steward kindness between siblings. You guys, come on, this is ridiculous. And I remember I just sat there and I saw how this older brother turned to his younger brother and he apologized. He said, I'm sorry that I made you feel small. I'm sorry that I didn't have your back. I'm sorry that I didn't make you feel like you were important to me. And they went out the door arm in arm and went back to go play ball together with the neighbors. And you guys, that's the kind of families we want. That you can't fault the older brother for even he was much more athletic and competitive than maybe the younger brother. You can't fault him for wanting to be a winner. You can't fault him for wanting the best team, and that's okay. You want to praise that too and empower that. But there's an element that we want to be loyal to our siblings. We want to be loyal to our brothers. A brother born in the time of need is what the scriptures say, and we can build our families to be children like that. Yeah, be blessed.